Morning everybody, and today we're going to take a nice and slow look at some of the techniques within Z0016, the Hylian Shield UCS wall display. And I think there's a lot in this set that's worth taking a look at, and we're going to start off today by looking at the crest. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unhide the top of this, which is a nice little cover hiding up all of the interesting parts. And you can see it's a lot more complicated than you may have originally anticipated. So, this thing is built in two halves mostly, and the first half is this upper part here, and then the second half is an upside down build over this way here. And the way this is held together is actually by how it attaches to the main shield. But one thing that you can really notice is that there is a bar attachment, and that's what holds these two front sides together. As you can see, the two studs are facing away from each other, and there's a hole in the middle, which is what allows this awkward angling next to each other, and then these to be attached. You've also got skeleton arms, which attach this nice angle at the side because they give a non-45 degree angle. And then you can also see how we got the spurred out crenellations at the bottom by using hinges. So it's a really complicated technique build inside such a very small area. The next one I wanted to show was this, which is a small technique used to get a unique angle on the top sides of the shield, and it involves manipulating hinge bricks, but then also combining it with these 1x2 modified plates with round edges, as they they can curve a bit because of their rounded edges, giving them a bit more flexibility in angles. So it creates this really unique two-dimensional angle which then feeds into the shield wall, and there are a couple of these different connections in order to make this top section of the shield secure. Bar that, you can also see here how I did the outer layer. It's basically just a alternating two thick Technic frame that then builds up onto this plate layer underneath here. Behind this plate layer is where things are interesting, and that is in this two-layer Technic frame, which is held apart by plates and then is connected at regular intervals using these yellow 1x3s. These other ones just rest on top and they cover up all of the gaps. Moving over to our next one to show you today, this one's fairly simple, and it's just talking about the triangles for the Triforce on the shield. How they attach to the shield is by using this bracket piece that was introduced in the Minecraft fix over here, and then these two sides of the triangles are just large slopes built up like that, and then rotated, and then snot connected on the side. Another interesting feat of techniques is going to be the central loft wing crest to the shield, and that is seen here, and again it is two studs deep, and here you can see how it attaches using Technic pin holders, and you can also see that there's an awful lot of snot work that's gone on here. In fact, if we take a look, I believe, yep, there's your central snot brick, and that slots in there. You have upright building on top and down the sides over here, but then you've got these pieces here, which are snot work, and then those snot works attached to the inverted slopes. Over here, you've got upright building, as you can see if I take that off there, and that upright building continues all the way down to over here, where you've got some more snot work, and that continues down further until you've got more snot work, and then that starts to get interesting here again at the end, where we have an inverted technique underneath here, which involved using a 1x1 brick with 4 studs on the side, which I then had to cover up with a small decoration. The next one is the bottom of the shield, which is where, well, probably one of the hardest angles, because I had to join together these two angles together with as little as a gap as possible, because it's very, very visible. So obviously there are your base techniques, which is covering up as many of the gaps as possible using these 2x4 slopes, which you can see me taking away now. And then you also have this plate layer using these amazing 2x2 tiles here. But then we also had to actually make sure it was secure, so there was a lot of Technic work that went into it, as well as a lot of these different wedge plates, which I'm removing now. These were all layered up to minimize gaps in different places and to make it look as smooth as possible, because the bottom of the shield was actually grey, so I could get away with it there. you can see the two hinges which attach this big angle to the main straight Technic frame, because if you think about it, this was all those art plates were nice and straight up here, and then you've got these angles that are created by these hinges over here. And then at the front, we had to go snot, so studs not on top, to actually join these in together. So if I hide a couple of these, you can see here's our normal piece that comes in here. You've got a bracket piece to hide a gap there. It continues straight for these bottom pieces, so these bottom segments here were attached normally. But then, coming off the Technic frames here, you had modified bricks, which then attached to sideways element here. So you can see a sideways wedge plate representing the curve, which then had more sideways bricks, which actually had more plates stuck on top, and then they end in cheese slopes, which minimize the gap down here. We've got two more to take a look at today. The first one here is the wing of the loft wing, and this is actually an interesting one. Actually, I really enjoyed these. Are the bits I did first to get scale. So here you can see the Technic frame. This is an example of where it would be attached to. And you've got this upside down Technic round brick, which is attached to a turntable to allow us to get the angle upside down. Now in here, if I start to hide this, you've got your normal snot construction of snot bricks on the side, and then they've been rounded out over here. And then this one goes flat along. And then inside the top, you have the inside core, which is what's upside down, along with the bits attached over here. But then you've also got these Technic modified bricks that are attached the right way up, that are then hidden and joined together by that half semicircle, which I just got rid of. There are also some wedge plates that go round, and the thing curves into this very complicated snot work over this side, which uses clip hinges over here to attach the next segment of the wing. It uses a lot of T-slopes to hide things, and you've got snot bricks on the top for these covers, which are made out of wedge plates and tiles. You can see the double clip method along the front, and then the bottom is loose, only being tied together using cheese slopes and studs, and that each couple of these actually inverts in direction. So this one is forwards and builds out a smaller platform, which is just a snot build using slopes. This one is the right way up, and this one's also the right way up, and each section gets smaller and smaller and smaller, clipping in the exact same way until you get to the nice pointed end one. The last section we have to take a look at is by far the most annoying, and this is actually the side of the shield. So you can imagine the shield goes to a point down here, comes up, does this on the exact same on the other side, and then does the interesting curve. Now the problem with working at angles is that you go what I call off the Lego grid, and that can be seen here. At first this just looks like a weirdly overcomplicated way of attaching Technic bricks together, until you see this. The edge of the shield came in here, with this little tiny gap down here, which did not connect to the main Lego Technic frames. Now the other awkward part was that this outside Technic frame did not connect to where I was holding my Technic bricks. This could have been altered, although it would have been weak, but what in the end I decided to do was take a Technic panel and connect it to the outside wall, which you can see using this yellow bearing over here. So this here is attached to the outer wall, and then it's attached to the inner frame by these 1x3 green bars, which are clipped on using clips. It's a really overcomplicated technique when you think about it, but if I was to remove these green bars, this should illustrate my point quite nicely, and go to the Studio tool, select by connected, and connect this outer thing here, you'll see this outer wall and all of the clip section is completely separate. This is what I meant. This was not connected in any way. The only reason that was connected to the main frame was because of those green bars. And now you can see with the green bars still present, the whole thing lifts off, or at least most of it. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this quick, calm look at some different techniques I used within the LEGO Hylian Shield UCS build. It was a real challenge to get this build done, and I did it over 4 months, so I'd really appreciate it if you go and watch the original showcase. A lot of work went into both it and its box art. Either way, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you thought down below in the comments, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.